Joining us from Tel Aviv to speak on Donald Trump's Gulf tour and the latest surrounding the war in Gaza is political analyst Tom Gross. Welcome. Thank you so much for joining us. Let's start with Trump's first foreign trip. Some big deals were signed in Saudi Arabia, and the U.S. delegation is set to visit Qatar and the United Arab Emirates. A notable missing stop here is Israel. What do you make of that?
Yes, that's right. In his previous presidency, he made an initial trip to the Middle East. Trump came to Israel and he gave a very warm speech at the Israel Museum in Jerusalem. This time, it doesn't look so good for Israel. Not only is Israel watching from the outside, but there is a disconnect between Trump talking about peace treaties and reality. At the very moment Trump was talking about the deal that he concluded with the Houthis in Yemen, the Iranian proxy group in Yemen, the Houthis fired a ballistic missile over Saudi Arabia, close where Trump was speaking, from Yemen to Israel. Most of Israel had to run to bomb shelters. It was shot down, this missile, but the ballistic missile is a big thing. It can also be equipped to carry nuclear warheads, this kind of missile. And to be clear, it's an Iranian missile that the Iranians have given the Houthis. So there is a kind of apprehension in Israel that it's being a little bit sidelined. There's some other issues too. Trump, in his speech about an hour ago, announced that there would be that he would cancel the sanctions against Syria and give the new Syrian government a chance. Now, on the face of it, that's a good thing, but the government, the leader, al-Shara, grew out of al-Qaeda in the past, and it's not yet clear that the Syrian army and the Syrian forces are moderate. You still have a lot of Islamist foreign fighters and so on. So, and even worse, from Israel's point of view, is tomorrow Trump heads to Qatar. He spoke about Qatar as if it's some kind of moderate, helpful Western ally, but it really is not. It's, a backer of Hamas, it's close with the Taliban, it's backed ISIS in the past. And Israel has to be concerned that Trump is choosing to honor Qatar with a visit, but not America's long-standing ally, Israel.
You spoke briefly on the Houthis. The U.S. has reached a ceasefire that does not include Israel. Washington has directly engaged with Hamas. Now they are negotiating a nuclear deal with Iran. How has this been perceived in Israel?
Well, on all three issues, there is some profound apprehension because, as I just pointed out, the Houthis are still firing ballistic missiles at Israel, and America, without consulting Israel, Trump declared a kind of unilateral truce with the Houthis, leaving Israel to fend against the Houthis for themselves. I might add that Trump also didn't inform Britain that had been involved with the fight against the Houthis, another close ally of the United States. Vis-a-vis Iran, Trump said some very strong words against the Islamic regime in Iran, but words are not what Israel wants. Israel wants to know that the United States and others really will make sure that Iran does not acquire nuclear weapons. And what Israel is worried about is that Trump will sign a deal with the Iranians and he will proclaim it as a peace deal to stop nuclear weapons, but in fact it won't be much different than the deal that President Obama signed with the Iranians, which the Iranians just used as a cover to continue their nuclear weapons program.
Two U.S. special envoys headed to Doha to try and mediate some sort of an agreement and a pause in the Gaza war, given that Netanyahu announced that IDF will enter Gaza with full force in the coming days. Would you say that there is any room for a deal to be made right now?
Definitely, and just to be clear, Israel has offered Hamas a ceasefire that would last about 50 days, and Hamas would release 10 living hostages. And Hamas have been turning this down because Hamas wants an end to the war that will leave Hamas in control. And by the way, Donald Trump also said he wants an end to the war, and everybody wants an end to the war, but it will not produce a better outcome in the medium term or even a little bit down the road, not for Israelis and not for Palestinians in Gaza, to leave the Hamas terror group in control. Hamas also terrorizes the population, the civilian population of Gaza. It will be better if Hamas disarms and a government, a Palestinian-run government, takes control in Gaza, which will a government that will want to live in peace with Israel. Hamas does not want to live in peace with Israel, and therefore to stop the war prematurely, it might seem like peace, but actually it's just a recipe for a bigger conflict a little bit down the line.
Well, thank you so much for joining us and sharing your insights and opinions.
You're welcome.